name is Pacharee Pantoomano of brandnow.asia, and we got a request to present how to host a webinars for solopreneurs and SMEs. So this is designed to be bootstrapping it, and because many solopreneurs and SMEs may not have all the tools. And so this is gonna show you what we do behind the scene, because it does take a village to put it together. Sky and Ninja and Sushi and Sai and Woody, they're all like, putting things together, from the posters to distribution, writing up press releases and things like that. We're gonna walk you through that right now. If you guys are in a place where you cannot ask questions later, feel free to type them in the chat, and then I'll go through all the Q's and A's at the end. Yeah. All right. So how to host a webinar. Let's go. Okay. This is what I'm going to be taking you through today. This is planning and timeline, because some people may not be aware of, like, usually what's the lead time. Usually because you need to make the announcement, you want to give people time to respond because they're checking their schedule. And also just to walk through some of the other items. What is a webinar? Why should you do it? What are some of the preps? What are the content creation that you want to do in order to put it together? Supports and promotion. Sky is also going to take you through paid, because our company has been around since 2008. That's about 17 years. We have our e-newsletter. We have people that are part of our Facebook group. We also have groups on LinkedIn. So we kind of like set up in terms of distribution. Now, for some of you who may be new and thinking about starting, you may consider doing some paid to get, to do the distribution to announce your event. And what do you do at the event day when it comes to the execution? And then what do we do post-webinar? And then we'll get to the Q&A. Again, if you are not able to ask verbally, type out your questions. Next, please. Okay. I feel this is really important, just to give you a sense of the timing when you start to put something together. Next, please. So the team initially had this, we're going to put this at the back. I said, oh, it's a lot of information to go through. It's probably better in the front. This gives you a sense of an overview of how long it takes us. So give or take from the time that we do it. And note, we're a marketing agency, so we're used to doing content and advertising and PR. So it still takes us this much time. Of course, you could trim away some of this, but usually we're in between other projects as well. So we want to give it enough time from the time that people see it to the time that they, able to check their schedule and signed up and be able to attend. And then to the event day, and then what we do in the post. So this is just to show you what the Gantt or the project management looked like. But now I'm just going to walk you through it, and then we're going to do a recap again at the end. Okay, so what is a webinar? So I imagine most of you do know what it is, because it came up a lot during the time of COVID, and many of us sat in many, whether it's like meetings or back-to-back, conferences or sorry, not conferences, webinars to understand, information about. Usually I go to a seminar because it's related to my work, and I want to understand how other people do it so that I can improve my knowledge and skill up. And a webinar essentially is just a seminar that's hosted on the web. I know some people don't like them after COVID, but I don't think they're going to completely go away, because it just depends on the time and the investment that the company is able to put in, and if they want to host it regularly, right? So for us, we host it monthly, and the easiest way for us to do that is through the web. So it makes it accessible, and then people can also go back and watch it if they missed it or something like that. Next, please. Okay, now let's talk about why it matters. I told you a little bit earlier, for me, when I go, it's about upskilling. But there could also be other business reasons why you're, as a solopreneur or business or brand, you might want to host a webinar. So companies that is hosting a webinar is going to save you 60 to 70% compared to the physical seminar. So because you have to hold, when you go and rent a place, you need a venue, and you want to make sure that it's conveniently located. On top of that, you might need to make materials such as the printout for the attendees, the roll-ups. So webinars are an efficient way to reach your clients, build trust, showcase your expertise. This is also part of the platform for us. We feel very grateful that people want to know things that we know, and they want to get information from us, and we want to continue to give that content to people who are interested, and also showcase our knowledge. It can generate leads. Certainly, I've been in webinars that we've hosted or other webinars where people contact me afterwards and they ask me more questions, and it leads into some form of a business relationship or collaboration. It can engage and connect in real time, but also when you park it somewhere else, right, it becomes something, a discovery content that people can find. And then, of course, they can reach out to you afterwards as well. Okay, next, please. All right, pre-webinar preparation. Don't feel overwhelmed. It's a lot. So you have usually, you want to think about the format and the theme. So for us, if you've been a regular at our webinars, like Jamie has, you will probably come across that some of them are panels, some of them are just one person speaking, some of them are just relating to some Q&A. There's no, it's not a one size fits all. You have to think about the kind of session that you want to put together. So the theme and the topic is based on what you want to talk about. I've been to webinars where there was a LinkedIn expert, and he wanted to talk about how to leverage on LinkedIn, and I went in, and it was interesting because it increased my knowledge, right? As I mentioned a little bit earlier, for those of you who missed it, the way our webinars has come together is as a result of the survey. So if you stay in contact with us, follow us on our Facebook or YouTube channel, later this year, probably between October and November, we'll be sending out a survey asking what kind of topics would you like us to see put together in 2026. Next, please. Okay, I kind of already covered this already, where there's a presentation. Like right now, I am just one speaker and I'm giving you my presentation. It's about knowledge sharing and giving you a tutorial on how to do things. The next is like an interview. So of course, more in a Q&A format. The next is a panel discussion, and we've done all of these. If you'd like to know where our channel is, Sky, can you please share the Spotify
Sure.
later in the chat, please? So that people, if they like to go and backtrack and check out any of our previous recordings, they can. Some topics may be interesting for you to discover. And if you have questions about it, feel free to DM. Oh, little hearts, I didn't know you could do that. Feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. Next, please. Okay. So key considerations when choosing the theme. You want to align with your business goals and your audience needs. For us, these webinars are very much about what you guys are looking for from us, and then we put it together. Oh, thank you. Okay, so Sky has shared the Business Insights by Brenda.Asia, our Spotify channel on the side here. For those of you who are interested to catch some of the previous recordings. You want to make it specific, clear, and attractive. So you want to use words that are benefit driven. It's going to catch people's attention. Your design should not be too wordy. It should be of course, even in-house, sometimes we feel like we want to put in a lot of content too, but we realize like sometimes if people see it's like, oh, it's too much text, I don't want to read it. Or what is that thing where they go, too long, didn't read, TLDR or something like that. So you want to keep your design of your poster as clean as possible and just highlighting and then getting their attention so that they want to go in and look at your content, whether that's a Facebook event or a LinkedIn event or an event pop or other platforms that you are using. Focus on problem solving and the value that you are creating for your audience, what they're seeking from you. So as for us, this is about knowledge sharing basically, and it also makes sure that we can continue to do basically reskill and doing our craft, right? Honing our craft, which is marketing, PR, communications, campaigns. And oftentimes we have our trainees working in partnership with their supervisors like Sky and Ninja, and then they help us to put these things together. Next, please. Okay. So what do you need to do for pre-webinar preparation? You gotta choose your topic. Now, if you are confirming speakers, sometime we source, I think it could even be 2 to 4 months ahead from the time that we survey and we get the feedback. And I think, oh, this would be better served like in this format. There should be another speaker and myself, or just that speaker alone to speak. We have had, there was some speakers such as Sweet Chew and Hungry Hub. They came and talked about how they scaled from a logo into a brand. So I did the facilitation of the introduction, but most of it, they told their story. So, but that took time to curate. And of course, you need a little bit more, you need more meetings between two people for them to make some decisions on who's going to go first, what are some of the questions that they're going to answer. The team prepares some of the potential questions and helps to guide the content creation. Some speakers prefer to just speak without any presentations. Some prefer it with presentation. I tend to be very visual, so I prefer to have something that kind of anchors the points that I'm making. Meeting the speakers and discussing the flow of the event. If it's just me and my team, usually it's quite quick. We might have 1 or 2 maximum. If it's me and another speaker, same, it's like quite quick, 1 or 2 maximum meetings for us to go over. But when we start to have 2 or 3 more, like in a panel format, then that starts to take more time because we need to have agreement on time and who's presenting what and how do we share the time. And then what you want to do is then start setting the date and the time, and then you have the runway leading up to the event date. Next, please. Okay. Pre-webinar. So as I mentioned, when we work with other speakers, we need to gather their photos or bios. We also ask them for, because we do send out a press release just as an event announcement. We also ask them to do videos, like a short one, to just introduce themselves. So people would then get a sense of who they are and why they should join the event. Once we get those things, we start drafting the PR and the content, and then the poster goes up. I mentioned already the promo video, and then we start preparing the questions. And it's also good if they want to have a presentation, that if they send their presentation to us ahead of time, then the team has time to digest their presentation and then do some Q&A, some prep for that. Next, please. Okay, what's in content creation? It's a lot. Hope you guys have some platforms to do that, such as like Canva. We use Create Vista, which belongs to Deposit Photo. And so in your content creation, well, you gotta have places for distribution. So normally what we're gonna be doing is creating an event page, on our Facebook, on our LinkedIn, and on EventPop. Some people don't want to use EventPop or Eventbrite or Ticketmelon because they want to keep it like very exclusive. So it depends on what's your goal for the event. For us, we put it in EventPop because it's a discovery platform. So if somebody's looking for an event to attend, this is the, it gets shown through hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's important to get the text and Thai and English correct, hashtag it correct, so your targeted audience can find it. Then you want to make banners and deck and slides. So those banners can be for your Instagram, it could be for your Facebook page. YouTube also has the posts that you can also put, like, coming up on this date and this time. I also put things in my Line as well. Line has Room, and then I share it across like many of the groups that I'm part of. We'll normally have like some, I recently did an intro video for the webinar, about the webinar, and then there's some quotes and then some countdown, to get people like excited, like, okay, if they thought about it, they didn't book it yet, but then if they see you popping up like, hey, 3 days to go or 1 day to go, then they know they should book and get their ticket. We schedule many things through a software called Metricool. There's many like it in the marketplace, such as like Hootsuite or Social Sprout. So depending on what you want to use, the reason for this is for us to address like, oh, how did that video do? How did this do? Because we're always in the process of also analyzing how well we're doing in terms of like content creation and how many views, likes, or engagement we're getting from it. So don't worry if this is new to you. This is more like something that we like to do because we are an agency. Coming to the why, well, to make beautiful design content is to attract attention, builds your credibility, even if they don't know you or your brand just yet. Maybe it could make people curious and go check out a little bit more like what you're up to, and if they want to follow you. If they can't attend the upcoming event, perhaps they'll come back around and join something else that you'll host. You also want to increase registration and attendees rates, and then create an excitement and anticipation, as I said, like 3 days to go or 1 day to go. Next, please. All right, here are some examples of the posters. This was from June, and I had Karen. She is a registered dietitian, and I wanted her to talk about how, when you eat smart, how can you build bigger, right? Because nutrition is taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, helping you to have more energy, helping you to think more clearly. So this is the poster, because the first poster usually in Eventbrite is through, EventPop is vertical, but of course in Facebook is horizontal. And we always usually make a QR code so people don't have to type in the link. And by now, if you are living and based in Thailand, you probably have some kind of like bank app, and we're like always scanning some kind of QR code for this, that, and the other, from connecting to someone to making payments to signing up for an event. Next, please. Okay, so here is a quote in Karen's poster. She says, food fuels more than just the body. It fuels how we show up, think, lead, and live. And that's the vision that guides my work. Then she also wanted to add an infographic about like nutrition in a wellness program, right? Like she said 32% in workers' compensation claim, 25% fewer sick days when people are eating well, taking care of themselves. So this was some interesting fun fact to share. Next, please. Okay. We also do promotional videos, because remember our one-way is 4 weeks. So we want to continue to get people's interest, ask them to register, ask them to share the link to the registration so that others may also join as well. This was an event that actually was scheduled for July, but it got moved to September. So I have a 9x16 as well as 16x9 here. So depend on the format. I have seen, and Sky and I were talking about it, how the vertical, TikTok version, which is the 16 by 9x16, usually the views are quite high, up in the hundreds, whereas the horizontal landscape version might get 20, 30 views. But the other version gets hundreds and hundreds. So that's just sharing with you why you should try to have 2 types, and then think about where you distribute and post them, and then which version is doing better in terms of getting views. Okay, next, please.
Hi there.
Oh, are we gonna play that? Okay, did you want it to play that, Sky? You can. Let's choose one to play. Yeah, can you share the vertical one? Yeah.
Hi there. Our next mastermind for North Star Now is taking place on the 19th of July, and it's going to be about personal and executive branding. And we have the exciting Miss Amel, who's going to be talking about mastering your niche and how to position yourself as the go-to expert in your field. Now, if this is something that you've been working on, whether it's your personal branding or your executive branding, you don't want to miss this event. So click on the link and sign up now, and we look forward to welcoming you to the event. Sawasdee ka.
So normally, just to share with you a little bit of the background, I either I record just basically using my phone, and I have 2 different softwares that I use. I usually don't need to ask my team to do the filming with me, because then they have to at least listen to all of my mistakes, or when I stumble on words or missaid something. So normally I would just film myself, and I just double check the content. I might say the same thing 3 different times, more or less. I do write it out as a script. Sometime when it's a little bit longer, I require a teleprompter. There are free teleprompters online that you can just get. So besides using my phone, sometime I'll also use my laptop. My laptop is just a standard laptop. It's not a high-end one at all. So I would say maybe it's a mid-range laptop, but I do use a 4K camera when I use my laptop. So it's a 4K web stream camera, and when I upload the video up, then I can make a decision whether I'm gonna slice the video just to be like the one that you see here, or I'm just gonna use that there. So that's usually what but the reason for the 4K is because my laptop camera is not that great. I don't think it's an HD, or it could be an HD, but when I compare my video, the quality of my video versus others, I feel like, oh wow, when you watch somebody who's recorded in 4K, it is quite pretty. But of course, then you require a lot more data, and yeah, it's a lot more. So my recommendation is start with what you got, and just try it, and learn how to use the software better. That part always takes a little bit of time, and I prefer to do it on my own, just so that my team doesn't have to dedicate the time. I did want them, want their help, because they wrote things out on one of those flip charts for me and stuff like that. But it's been going on for some time now, so I've gotten more sufficient in my processes as well, so I can save other people time. Next, please. Feel free to ask me any questions about this. I know
Hi there.
filming
Hi
yourself,
there.
filming yourself is just one of those things that, yeah, it could take. At the start of the process, I feel like you need to put in your 10,000 hours, and I think I could easily stand in front of, like, even my phone that's like, with one of those tripods holding it, up to like 3 hours just messing up. Now I've managed to be able to pare it down to something like 30 minutes, and might do it again and again, just so that I get the best version, so that the video is clear and my voice is clear. And of course, you can buy more equipment, but before going and splurging, the recommendation is try to work with what you got first, and then you might want to test it on other people and ask them for their opinion to find out. I have two mics. One of them is a Jabra, and the other one is a Booyah. Booyah is a Chinese version of the Shure, which is the American version. And the Booyah, I believe the PM300 or the PM500, so this is the professional mic that I have, is roughly between 3,500 to 4,500 baht. I find it, because what I'm working with right now as we do this webinar is actually with my Jabra, and it's a teleconferencing. I find that the sound difference in terms of the quality of the recording doesn't really change much. So it just really depends on the day what I want to use. Just FYI. Next, please. All right, now we're going to go into support and promotion. Now, yeah, so regularly, as you might have seen, if you had registered on LinkedIn, we then invite you, we get your email, because most of the time when you registered on LinkedIn, I want to connect with you, and then I'm able to see your email address. And then what we do is we collect the emails, and then we put it into the Gmail calendar, like here. Okay, so this goes from here to here. We do the same from what we also get from people on EventPop, because on EventPop you're required to register. I know some people say, oh, they don't want to register on the EventPop because somebody's going to take the information. Well, my opinion on that is, I don't think my email is so interesting. I realize that I'm also spammed a lot, and my inbox is often overflowing, and it's a challenge for me to also keep up with it, because my emails are everywhere, because I go to trade shows, conferences. I register on many platforms to receive information. So it's yeah, it's difficult when you are head of a company and expect to stay as a private person, meaning like people don't have your telephone number or your email. I don't know, I drop off my business cards here, there, and everywhere, and I get calls sometimes from different things, and I don't even know how they got my number, because I've never done business with them before. So Yeah, and if you block out too much, you also can't receive the information that may also be of interest to you. And that's how I look at, sharing my contact details. We share the event posters, announcements, and videos in social media. So this is Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, Instagram. Are we still on TikTok, Sky?
We have some issue with metrical.
Okay, still. So yeah, sometime I do have some things that go on TikTok, but sometime some of my platform gets disconnected and they just require us to re-sign back in to reconnect them. From those emails, what we do is then we add the emails into our EDM system. If you're not familiar, what is an EDM? You might be familiar with the name like MailChimp. And that has what we use actually is Akumba and MailerClouds. We have two systems. Why do we have two systems? Well, one maxes out at 300,000 emails, and the other one, I believe, maxes out at 50,000 emails. And the reason why we need that kind of email power in order to be able to send to people, because we also do PR, and that's a requirement to shoot out the press release to the media. But of course, we also have to follow up, because the average reporter or editor can get anywhere between 80 to 800 emails per day, and we want to call them up and flag them to let them know, like, hey, we sent this to you. Then we we schedule the pre-event meeting with our speakers. If there is a speaker, or then it's just myself, then it's usually me rehearsing the slides, double checking what I want is in here and it's relevant and useful for the audience that comes through. Next, please. All right, running ads for the webinars. So here I'm going to invite Sky to come and talk about this, because if you are new and you don't have distribution yet, like how we have our e-newsletter that we send out all weekly, or a YouTube channels with followers or Facebook with followers, then you're going to be thinking, okay, I don't have that enough people and I really want to attract more. So this is an alternative way for you to do that. Take it away, Sky.
Yep, exactly like what Kunui mentioned. If you don't have a good distribution channel, you would need to spend money to get the eyeballs. Uh, what we recommend as an ad platform or the platform to spend money is Facebook. The two main reasons why we say that is, one, it's a much more effective and much more cost effective than any other channels. If we were to spend, let's say, $100 each on Facebook versus LinkedIn, the impressions you get on Facebook is going to be almost 10x more than LinkedIn. The main reason being LinkedIn is a niche out platform where you only see a lot of professionals, whereas on Facebook you see a lot of wide net of audience. You might say, if there is a wide net of people in Facebook, how do I know who to target? On the back end, when you're running ads on Facebook, you can do a detailed targeting where you can add a lot of important stuff for you. For example, you can say where the person is located, what's the age, what's the profession, and so on. So if you do a detailed targeting on Facebook on the back end, you will be able to reach out to your ideal target audience for your webinar. So running ads is what happens when you run ads versus not running it is it appears in more people's feed or search results. Um, it encourages them to register or sign up because it increases the number of viewers or impressions in your content, and it drives traffic to the landing page or registration. It can be either or. You can do it in the native app itself. When I say native app, I'm referring to Facebook or LinkedIn itself, whichever you're using to promote your event or your webinar. Or you can take that traffic to outside of the native app itself, which would be in our case event pop. But we do create events on Facebook, LinkedIn, and event pop. So it helps us to increase discoverability. So why is one, you'll find the right audience, ideal audience. If you have a very short runway, promoting or boosting or advertising on Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other platform would be ideal for you. It increases the number of registration and it's cost effective for solopreneurs. Yes, there are other ways you can do it. You can barter with other people. For example, what we do when we have speakers, acquired followers, like who have some followers, we ask them to create promotion video that we saw before. That also helps us to create more participants in the webinar. And it also helps you to track and optimize your event. And based on the feedback that you get for the ads that you're running, you can also ask, or you can always ask people how they saw you, how they said, why did they say yes? It could be the topic, sometimes it's the topic, sometimes it's the time. And there's so many different variables that we can get feedback on. Over to you, Kunle.
Thank you, Sky. So if you guys also have any questions in relations to paid ads, do feel free to also drop that question in the chat as well. So this is event day. What do we do on event day? So let's get started. All right. So normally we sign in 15 minutes just as a cross check because we have had issues, even though we run monthly webinars. It's happened where all of a sudden the mic just messes up and yeah, we have to reset it or we have to, yeah, like all sign out, sign back in, make sure that when we're playing the music, like when you came into the room, right? We didn't want it to be completely empty without any holding slides and stuff like that. So this is where we do all the check and making sure everything is operational. We always give time for the guests to be able to join the webinar. And we then share like the host or the speaker links like to LinkedIn. So in case the attendees want to connect, they might have a question, but they don't want to ask it publicly. They want to ask it privately. So then of course, and also for networking reasons. We look at the holding slides, have the background music I've already mentioned, and then we start the recording. And we understand that some people, you know, they don't want to accidentally be turning on their camera because they're just coming in to listen. They don't want to be part of the recording. So that's why you have to announce it. It's also correct for GDPR and PDPA reasons. And then we monitor and engage the chat as people come in and if they type any questions, things like that. So this is how we do the event day execution. Next, please. All right. So here's a sample timeline during the webinar. We're usually, if it's just us, we can sign in just 10, 15 minutes. If we're working with other speakers, because as you can see behind me is a backdrop, some speakers may not have figured out how to do that yet, and sometimes they need a walkthrough with that. We then welcome the attendees, brief the speakers and the panelists. All of this information was pre-collected, remember when we started the timeline. So we're working off of a sheet that has all of their information collected in there that gives like the background, potential Q&As, and then the speakers start moderating. Usually that's myself, and now I'm having other team members also get involved in it as well. We want to encourage people early on, like they're welcome to ask questions, and we continue to also remind them because they may think of a question later on that they might want to share in the chat and have it answered. And then we do the Q&A, and then we complete the webinar. The webinar, usually when we do the recording on Zoom, we are recording it into the cloud. And then what the Sky and the team does is actually download it and put it in Spotify. If there's something that we need to adjust, like to trim a little bit, then there could be like, if somebody accidentally opened up their speaker and it was like super loud, we may need to have trimmed that out. So sometimes there's minor editing, but usually we don't do a whole lot around it unless it's like part of our agreement with a client, and we're running the webinar for them professionally. Okay. Next, please. Okay, post-event action. So what do? As I mentioned, we retrieve the recording, we upload it in Spotify, and then what we do is, because we have our weekly e-newsletter, we then share that with others, and then also the people who have registered, just let them know, like, hey, this is the recording. If you want to go back, check it out, skip around. There's some parts that they'd be more keen interested to know, then this is the part that they can revisit. Or if they did attend and they would still want to go back just for clarification on something before coming back to have a conversation with us on it, then they can also check it on there. We do some recaps in our social media. We do use a software called Minvo. It's a short AI video editor that looks at the different sections of the video and then helps slice it. This is when Sky and the team, they makes a decision, did Minvo do the right thing, or does it need, manual intervention? But we do try to use a lot of software to make us as efficient as possible. And then, we send out an event recap through to people who are in our e-newsletter. Okay, next. All right, so that's everything that we just went through, that explanation. Remember at the start of the webinar, I said, don't worry, it just looks a lot, but when you go through, it does have its particular timeline. And as you can see, like the first is always going to be around the speaker, the topic, and then we're going to create the content, give people a chance to register, continue to keep the interest of those who want to join, right? So little, I call it like, just like a little rabbit trail, little bits and bobs for them people to see. And then we also do the support through, collecting the emails, making sure it goes in Google Calendar. The reason why we use the Google Calendar, actually Sky showed this to me, was I know there are other ways to do it, but because we also use Google quite a bit. So we put everything in Google, and then you can, what's the farthest that we can send the notification reminder, Sky? Could be like 2 weeks before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We can have
So,
multiple variations.
right. Is there any limits to multiple reminders? Is there any limits, like up to how many? I don't think we've come across that limit yet.
Yeah, we usually send out 3.
Yeah, power of 3. Yeah. So what we do is, like, once you registered, and normally what is our timeline on the reminder? Is like 1 week out, maybe 3 days
1 week,
out.
2
Yeah.
days, and 1 hour before, and 10 minutes.
Yeah, so then people know, like, if they're out and about, they'll get the reminder. The link is handy. They can just click in it and join our webinar. So we do this thing where we're reducing friction. So reducing friction is just making it easier for people to come on board and, get the information, enjoy the content with you. Then, of course, I have already mentioned recently about just testing the slides and the recording, and then also doing the post-event content creation. So we're just about 3 minutes to 3 p.m. I wanted to check, does anybody have any questions about this process? Or
Yes, I have a question, Kunoi.
yeah.
Like, why time is important while doing a webinar? Like, why is it always like in 2 o'clock, but not at 12 a.m. or 4 p.m.?
Well, it really depends, right? I've noticed, it's a good question, yeah. I have noticed, like, Oh, thank you, Kun Pam. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope you come back and join us for other episodes. So for us, right, like people normally divide their days into different chunks of time. So whether it's a coffee morning or it's a lunch or it's a late afternoon thing. So if you're gonna do something, think about when people get into the office. Oh, okay, I see your question, Eddie. I'll come back. So in the office, if you start like a webinar at 9, that's going to be a little bit difficult, right? Because if they get to the office, they probably want to have their coffee, like sort their desk out. So 9 a.m. is probably not necessarily ideal unless somebody's going to, start that webinar right at home. And then come into the office afterwards, or they have to get in a little bit earlier. And then there's the lunchtime. So why did we start at 2? Okay, it's arbitrary. Why do I do it Tuesday at 2? Okay, I was born on the Tuesday. I just needed to pick a date. So at 2, because usually people go to lunch, right? They come back, they're usually around 1, they're about to start on the next thing that they're gonna do. It's either they're going to join your webinar or they're going to start on their work or meeting. So you'll notice often meetings are like 10, 2, and then some events, like if you have them at the end of the day, like if people actually join, then they can just kind of like leave for the end of the day. They're not going back to work. So that's part of the decision making as well. We've tried playing around with the idea of when to host it. It just works for us best on this date and time, and that's how it's worked for us. And when we try to switch it to other time, it wasn't working, like for us as a team or for the other people. We noticed there was a shift in terms of number of attendees. So what's the average attendees? I think for us, in terms of knowledge sharing, we are usually getting around 60 to 70 on average. And our attendees, I think at the highest that I saw today was around 16 or 17. We're usually hovering somewhere between 15 to 20. Now, I've been on other webinars that was organized by the Chamber of Commerce, and I've seen as many as up to 50. So it really depends on the topic. It depends on the speaker. Ours is around like usually how to, and we are targeting SMEs. Oh, okay. Sky, do you see this question? Can you kindly share your most affordable but successful ad budgets to start with? Usually, what is that?
Yes, it depends on what you're doing. In your post or event, Facebook has a cap starting at 70 to 100 baht per day. It really depends on which phone you use as well. Sometimes if you use a Apple device, it's relatively higher because Facebook has to do the advertisement from their app. Like for example, if you open Instagram or Facebook from your iPhone and run an ad or boost it from that device, it will charge you around 20 to 30% more. So uh, that's the case. But if you're doing it from the back end, which is the Facebook ad manager, you can start as little as 50 baht a day. It really depends on your budget as well as what's your goal or KPI.
Yeah, because when you start to run the ad, you will see like how many impressions, or depending on what you're selecting, right? Whether it's like engagement, inquiry, impressions. So it will show you as well when you select the budget, and it will tell you estimate number of impressions, estimate number of inquiries.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, also in addition to that, if you're running ads, always use your laptop or like desktop version. Like don't use your mobile phone because usually the platform has to add more cost to it.
Oh, okay.
Also, that goes for any other things as well. Like for example, if you're buying a subscription for Netflix or Spotify from your iPhone, it's going to be a bit expensive than if you do it from a website.
What do you mean? Like if you buy it from your
The
mobile
app
phone?
itself.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be expensive.
Wait, but if
Because
you use the
Apple has a add-on fee for all the platforms, apps.
Oh, okay. So it's better if you use your desktop.
Yes, desktop, or you can do
Okay,
it through your browser, not the app itself.
that's interesting, because we didn't talk about this, but I noticed like if I do that, like when I buy clothes online, it's if I buy clothes through the browser, I don't get as many coupons as I do when I get on the apps in my mobile.
Yes.
Yeah. For like e-commerce products, it's much better. Like FMCG related products or clothing items. I find that doing it on my mobile phone, I'll get more coupons versus the laptop. All right. Thank you, Kunplan. Thank you, Kunetti. Okay, next slide, please. If no one else has another question. So yeah, just want to remind you guys that our next upcoming event is later this month, and it's going to be at the Sheraton Grand, and it is a mastermind. So if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, startup, MSME, SME, and looking to know more about AI from Damian Sutton, yeah, feel free. Thanks, Jamie. Feel free to sign up. There you can scan the QR code, or if you prefer a link, if you go to any of our social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, you'll come across it and you'll be able to sign up there as well. Next, please. Okay, so finally got around to making one link tree for brand now, and this is the QR to our link tree, which provides you many multiple links to reach us, and also the Spotify is in this link tree as well. Okay. All right, it's 3:05. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you to North Star Now or to our next webinar in September. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Sawasdee.